On this episode of Behind the Car Dealer's Curtain, we'll be discussing what negative equity is and how people find themselves in this scenario. Can you get yourself out of this jam? Stay tuned to find out. Hello, my name is Jim. I'm here with you today with another Behind the Car Dealer's Curtain. No cuts, no edits, just valuable information about car shopping and the car business. But before we begin, this video is sponsored by the Car Dealer Cure. We are a car buying consulting service. We cure car buyers of the car dealer calamity. Our experienced staff has worked in every role at car dealerships, from salesperson to general manager. We handle every aspect of the car buying experience for you, from locating your perfect vehicle to negotiating the best price on the car, on your trade-in, on the interest rate, on any warranty extras, and then we arrange for a remote signing for you so that you can avoid the dealership pressure cooker. Most of our clients save far more time and money than our service costs. Tired of car dealerships? Allow us to cure you of your car buying ailment. Contact us today for a free discovery call. Okay, so automotive negative equity. What is it? How do you avoid it? And what do you do if you find yourself caught up in it? Negative equity is when you owe more on your car loan than your vehicle is currently worth. I saw an extreme example recently on YouTube. This gentleman had a one-year-old GMC Hummer that he owed somewhere in the neighborhood of about $170,000 on, and a dealer was offering him $79,000 to trade it. I did a little research, and it was a fair offer, which left him with just over $90,000 of negative equity. And there's not much you can do at that point. This gentleman was unable to trade for another vehicle. Lenders will only allow you to roll over but so much negative equity onto your next car loan based on your credit strength and some simple math percentages. So this poor guy was stuck with his $3,300 a month car payment for the foreseeable future, and in a vehicle that was no longer meeting his needs. So how does this happen? How do we find ourselves in this situation? And there are a number of ways that this can occur. It's usually a combination of several of the scenarios, but quite often, and this isn't always the case, but the majority of negative equity situations I've seen are the result of irrational exuberance, a phrase coined by the late American economist Alan Greenspan. Some others might call it exuberant spending. There's a line in the movie Top Gun where James Tolkien's character tells Maverick that that his ego is writing checks that his body can't cash. It's generally a result of financially biting off more than one can chew. An important lesson to take away is just because you can make a payment doesn't mean that you should have that payment or can afford an item in the long term. So let's start off with fast depreciation. Most automobiles depreciate over time, some more quickly than others. There are some car makes out there that are notorious depreciators. Electric cars have been the subject of some extreme depreciation these past couple of years. Part of the reason why someone can find themselves $90,000 upside down in a Hummer pickup truck, because these modern Hummers are electric vehicles. Now, in this guy's situation, he had also rolled in two trade-ins that both had negative equity on them before he purchased this vehicle, and then saw an extreme drop-off in his electric Hummer. But that's a story for another video. But when a financing program gives you a set number of years to pay for a vehicle, and the vehicle you're paying on depreciates faster than you're able to pay down that loan, people can find themselves in a negative equity situation. And it's often because many people want to stretch themselves out into more and more car. And they're just considering if the payment that's being presented to them at that moment is makeable. Many people feel that if they can make the payment, or if they can talk themselves into being able to make a payment, that it's okay to go ahead with a car purchase. And then a handful of those people wake up a few months later and ask themselves, what on earth did I do? But let's say, for example, you select a car that's not known for rapid depreciation, something like, say, a Toyota. Let's take the Toyota Tacoma, for example, a truck that lives in the top 5 of strongest resale vehicles that are currently produced. And it has been in that category for over 25 years. Is a slow depreciating car the cure for negative equity? Well, not necessarily. It certainly helps, but consider this situation, a situation not involving a trade-in that results in negative equity. To use easy math, let's say you purchase a new Toyota Tacoma that has a sticker price or a manufacturer's MSRP of, let's say, $50,000. Let's assume that you agree to pay sticker. You live in a state that has 5% sales tax, that's $2,500. And between the dealer fee and DMV, let's say that adds another $500. Just trying to keep the math rounded off and easy. The dealer tells you the out the door on that $50,000 truck is $53,000. Your credit is excellent. And the bank says no down payment is required if you'd like to take that truck home and not pay anything up front for it. And you say, okay, sign me up. And you sign the paperwork, and you are now the proud new owner of a brand new Toyota Tacoma and a $53,000 car loan. Now suppose that 2 weeks and 500 miles later, you're in love with your Tacoma, but the only buyer's remorse that you have is that you didn't go just a little bit bigger on that truck purchase. What you would really love now is a new Toyota Tundra pickup truck. And the smart money says that a new car depreciates between 8 and 10% the moment you drive it off the lot. And that's probably right in most cases, but it is a well-known fact that Tacomas are known for their strong resale. They retain about 2/3 of their value after 5 years of ownership, and dealers sell them like hotcakes. I can honestly see a dealer, and I have seen dealers, 2 weeks and 500 miles later making a strong offer in the very high $40,000 range just to get that customer back in to trade them out of that Tacoma and sell them a new Tundra. Let's say they give you $49,000 as a trade value, which is unheard of in most circles, so don't get your hopes up. But remember, we're talking about a vehicle known the world over for retaining its value. But even if you were given $49,000 in trade, your loan, which you haven't even made your first payment on yet, is sitting at $53,000. Probably a few bucks more because interest accrues daily, but let's keep the math simple and stick with a $53,000 outstanding loan balance. You are now $4,000 negative on that Toyota Tacoma that you've only just had for a couple of weeks. And imagine where you'd be if you'd made a no money down, full pop sticker price purchase on a more mainstream car not known for its strong resale value. The instant negative on a car like that, not known for holding its value, could be in the neighborhood of $7,000 or $8,000 drive-off depreciation, or even more. What this example illustrates is that whether you're purchasing a fast depreciating car or a slow depreciating car, a little to no money down purchase virtually guarantees you a 100% chance that you'll be starting the journey with your new car in the red. And if anything unexpected happens, you get bored with the vehicle, you want to upgrade, you want to downgrade, payment is too high, you get a divorce and need to get out of the car, someone dies and you need to get out of the car, you don't think you can afford the maintenance, you're going to be looking at taking a pretty good short-term loss to get out of that car. If your plan is to trade for another car, that negative equity in your now trade-in is going to have to follow you over to your next vehicle, your next new vehicle. And to add insult to injury, you're compounding the problem because the same thing is going to happen when you drive your next car off the lot. The only difference is that you will have rolled in even more money, that negative equity from the trade-in, into the balance of the new loan on your next vehicle. So you've now double whammied yourself on negative equity because your first purchase was not as well thought out as it should have been. This leads into the next cause of negative equity, which is folks who finance cars with little to no down payment. If you don't have a trade-in that's in equity, and you don't have much, if any, down payment, banks will finance people with decent to excellent credit with no money down in many cases. But it doesn't mean that you should do that. It's an easy button that banks will offer to you. And when your finance manager in the dealership tells you that the first payment isn't due for 45 to 90 days, it sure is tempting. But my advice would be to try to resist that temptation. Wait until you can save a little money. Wait until your trade-in is fully paid for. Buy a little less car. But don't hang yourself in debt because you're caught up in the excitement of the prospect of getting a new car. Okay, let's talk about longer loan terms. Back prior to around 1970, car loan terms were relatively short compared to the lengths that we enjoy today. They were generally capped at about 2 to 3 years back then. By around the 1980s, the 4-year term became the standard maximum, with some companies dabbling in 5-year financing. By the 1990s until around the year 2000, 5 years was the standard maximum term, with some lenders dabbling in 6-year loans. By 2010, we had 7-year loans. And in recent years, post-pandemic, with car prices as high as they've become, there are some lenders out there that are going out even further than 7 years. Here's why this is a big deal. If you've ever looked at a loan amortization schedule, and if you haven't, I'd suggest nerding out and just taking a look at one. Because what that graph is going to spell out for you is the longer out we go with our loan terms, the more slowly our loan balances decrease every time we make a payment. And it's not just because our payments are smaller. The further out you take a loan, the smaller amount of each payment is going towards paying down the principal, which is what goes towards paying down your loan balance. It's kind of a double whammy because longer loan terms tend to step up to higher interest rates. That's what you get in exchange for your lower payment. Often, when you're taking a longer term, is you're generally looking at a higher interest rate and a slower pay down of that principal. So the longer you go, the higher the rate. So what do you get for your lower payment? Smaller and smaller amounts actually going towards paying down your loan balance. A higher interest rate, and circling back to the subject of negative equity, we could argue that you're getting hit with a triple whammy, because this loan that you just stuffed yourself into is attached to a vehicle that's going to depreciate the moment you drive it off the lot. You drive away instant negative in your car, and this long-term loan ensures you pay your car loan down nice and slowly while the car continues to depreciate faster than you can pay it off. The hard lesson here, and most people are going to scoff at this, is most of us should probably be looking at buying less car. Take the shortest term loan that you can manage rather than trying to slide yourself into a more expensive car by seeing just how far out you can extend your loan term and lower that payment. If I really want that $43,000 Camry XSE at a 7-year term at 7%, ask yourself if you could live with a $33,000 Camry SE at a 5-year term at 6%. It's the same approximately $650 a month car payment, but you're going to build equity faster in that $33,000 Camry SE and pay the loan off 2 years sooner, just for sacrificing a few bells and whistles. Okay, rolling over negative equity from trade-ins. We touched on this a little. Negative equity in a trade-in, quite literally, is a negative down payment. Normally, if my purchase is $50,000 out the door and I come to the table with $5,000 to put down, that $5,000 comes right off the top as a $5,000 down payment. I now owe $45,000. But if I go into that same transaction with $5,000 of negative equity from a trade-in, and suppose no cash to put down, well, my $50,000 loan just became a $55,000 obligation. Negative equity is truly financial quicksand when you start rolling over balances into new cars. And rolling over negative equity tends to beget more negative equity. You just get deeper and deeper into a hole that's going to take you longer and longer to dig yourself out of if all you can do is just make the minimum payments on your car loan. And finally, high bank interest rates are like a cancer when it comes to perpetuating negative equity. Imagine walking up a sand dune that's on an incline, and you're climbing up this thing, and as you're climbing up, you step up 2 feet to gain another step, and then you sink back down a half a foot. And you step up another 2 feet to climb this thing, and you sink back down another half a foot. In that scenario, it's taking a lot longer to reach your destination. What's normally a 10-minute walk becomes a 12.5-minute walk. The interest is quicksand, and depreciation is like sand that runs out of an hourglass over time. The only real cure for this is to take much bigger steps up that sand dune, making larger payments and putting more towards the principal of your car loan. So what have we discussed? Well, negative equity is when you owe more in your car than it's currently worth, and it's like a cancer that spreads. It usually happens because of a car buyer's irrational exuberance. They're simply biting off more than they can chew, and then just making minimum payments rather than paying extra to get themselves out of the hole. It also happens when we purchase cars that are known for fast depreciation. Do a little homework about vehicle resale before you commit yourself to that sweet Maserati. People that put little to no money down in their car purchases will usually start off in the hole of negative equity. And if they're not paying extra or making more than just the minimum payments, they'll likely stay negative for a while. Taking a longer term loan can keep you buried in negative equity for a while, especially if that longer loan term is combined with the little to no money down scenario. Rolling over negative equity from a trade-in and getting yourself into a new car purchase will do it, especially if you're not putting any money down. I've seen folks trade and buy another car 2, 3, 4 times within a few years, and the results are exactly what you'd expect. People get buried in their cars. And finally, the higher the interest rate, the stronger the quicksand when trying to dig yourself out of the hole. You'll be trying to get a handle on your negative equity by trying to pay as much as you can into your loan, and the higher interest rate will keep pulling you back. So that's it for now. If we're able to spare you the aggravation of the car buying experience, please let us know. We have the elixir for the car dealer calamity, and most of our clients save more in their car deals than what they pay us. We are located at thecardealercure.com. The link is in the description below. Thanks very much for watching.